In the early 2000s, a South African engineer had a nice idea. He built a merry-go-round pump wherein he would use the kinetic energy from the kids playing with the pump in order to generate water, and then the water will be stored in a tank, and then it will be available to anybody from the community on demand. Now, he brought this idea to an agricultural fair, and a British advertising executive saw it and fell in love with the idea. Of course, because he was in advertising, he was a very good storyteller. And he was able to generate a lot of media coverage and a lot of funding for the play pump. Before long, he was able to install 1,000 play pumps among many different rural villages in Africa. And at its peak, they had 4,000 play pumps. The problem was, they made a fatal mistake. Although it was a good idea, they started installing the play pump without actually consulting the communities that they were trying to help. Although the kids enjoyed the play pump in the beginning, problems started to happen. Some play pumps started to break down, and the NGOs or the organizations who were supposed to fix them couldn't really arrive on time. Some play pumps led to injuries, and basically kids being kids, they just got bored with it, and they stopped playing with the play pump. Now, another major problem is that when they installed the play pumps, they removed all the traditional hand pumps that the villagers used to be able to draw water. And in the end, something I could never forget, there were so many images of these women just pushing these heavy play pumps by themselves just so they can generate water in the community. It was a well-meaning project. It was supposed to solve the problem of access to water and at the same time provide safe spaces for play for children. Now, what happened was the project failed because they failed to be able to consult and to understand the realities of the people that they're trying to help. It was based on imagined realities than what their actual lived experiences were. The Guardian later reported that for play pump to be effective, the children actually had to play 27 hours straight just so they can deliver the needs of the community. Like I said, this story really made an impression on me. And it is a lesson that I carried with me when I had the chance to put up my own nonprofit. In 2007, I was living in Mexico as a youth missionary. And when I was there, I also fell in love with an idea. I came across a school which had a simple mission. They wanted to be able to provide high-quality education to children who can't afford it. The name of the organization was Mano Amiga, which means helping hand, and they were able to produce renowned engineers, doctors, including one of the top cardiologists in Monterrey, which is one of the primary cities in Mexico. And I decided I want to help bring that idea home. But rather than replicate everything that they did, I knew that I had to start by understanding the people I needed to help. So yes, while I observed the model in Mexico, I knew that the first thing I needed to do was actually immerse in the communities and to ask the questions and to really understand what they're going through. I had to understand what their dreams are for their children and what the dreams of the children are for themselves. I had to understand what are the different poverty-related factors, for example, that are keeping them from thriving in school. In 2008, we put up Mano Amiga Philippines. And as you can see from the picture, it was nothing fancy, it was very simple. We were in a temporary structure, in a model unit home, in a housing project. And we only had 3 classrooms. We also decided that we were going to start small so that we can learn as we go along. So in that first year, we only had 30 students in kindergarten and first grade. And really, it was a humble project. But what I was very proud about is how we really were there with the community and really made sure that what we're offering is something that is responsive and tailored to their needs. One of the reasons why children drop out of school, we learned, is that because they're not interested in what they're learning and they don't see its relevance to their daily lives. So in Mano Amiga, we implement play-based learning, wherein children develop key skills through play. We also develop project-based learning, wherein students are using the concepts they learned in the classroom to be able to solve day-to-day problems, because we want them to see why their education matters. But more importantly, we practiced empathy. This is teacher Andy, and I can never forget this story. She found out that her fourth graders were struggling in math, not because they don't understand the concepts, but because they were struggling to understand the concepts in English. And what she did was that she meticulously translated the concepts in Filipino until they could understand it better, and later retaught the class in English. So like I said, it was nothing fancy. It was very humble, but it was very genuine, and it always had empathy at its core. One of the things that prevents parents from putting their kids in a good private school are the high tuition fees. So in Mano Amiga, we have what you call a socialized tuition fee scheme, wherein parents pay according to their capacity. We also have what you call sweat equity, because we want to be able to form the parents as active members of the community and our partners in the school. So they volunteer 2 hours a week as custodians, teacher assistants, and maintenance staff. And this is also our way of keeping the operating costs low. But we also understand that education is a long-term investment. And one of the reasons why kids drop out of school is because they want to help bring in income for their family. So we need to make sure that we're able to help our parents with financial support. So we also offer direct employment, skills training, as well as seed funding for their businesses. That was then, that was in 2008. This is us now. Mano Amiga is turning 18 years this year. And we now have a full operating campus offering kindergarten until 12th grade. But more importantly, I've seen the model work, because I now have a lot of students who are thriving in their chosen colleges and universities. In fact, just over lunch, one of my students messaged me on Instagram to tell me that she got into her chosen pre-med course. And Mano Amiga's impact now extends beyond our one campus. We are also implementing our best practices by providing teacher training to public school teachers on social emotional learning, play-based learning, and project-based learning. We run different extracurricular activities, we run after-school programs, and we are most proud of how we're also helping address the learning poverty rate in the Philippines by helping tutor children who cannot read at age 12, 13, 14. So we also have an after-school program that focuses on that. But even after 18 years, our model remains the same. It's always rooted in empathy. It's always about immersing in our communities and understanding the different circumstances and making sure our initiatives are tailored to their needs. For us, it's seeing them as co-creators rather than seeing ourselves as the only experts in the room. And more importantly, it's also having that mindset that the model needs to constantly evolve, because at the end of the day, the realities that they had in 2008 are different from their realities now. And this is really at the core that we do. We even developed what you call the Mano Amiga empathy cards, wherein we train our children, our parents, and our staff to be able to listen and respond with empathy better. I want you to meet Lovely. She, as you can see in her index card, she was student 28 when I first met her. She told me her dream was to become a teacher, a doctor, and a dancer. And she started with us in kindergarten. She graduated from 12th grade about 5 years ago. And this is her now. After Mano Amiga, she was able to get a full scholarship in the De La Salle University for the Human Biology Accelerated Program. And she also got into her dance troupe. And last year, she graduated, and she's now in her first year of med school. So that's a step closer to becoming a dancer, a doctor, and who knows, maybe she'll come back in Manamiga someday to teach one of her classes. We currently live at a time wherein it's so easy to ridicule, to vilify people who don't share our beliefs and our ideals. And I really think we need to be able to counter that by going back to empathy and by going back to seeing people as human beings, right? With their own strengths, their own shortcomings, their own stories, and their own circumstances. I genuinely believe that empathy is the most genuine and the best expression of our humanity. And the more we practice it, the more we strengthen it, the more we can also harness it so that we can make a positive impact in the world around us. Thank you so much.